A few years ago, my family and I had an opportunity to go to Anaheim, California to attend the North American Christian Convention. Since our kids were 14 and 17 at the time, we decided to leave a few days early and explore California while we were there. We got to go to the beach and explore the boardwalks and different things in California. But the thing we were most excited to do was to go to Universal Studios in Hollywood. Both of my kids had read all of the Harry Potter books and they had watched all of the Harry Potter movies. So they were really excited to get a chance to go to Harry Potter World. Now, the Harry Potter World in Universal Studios in California is not near as big as the one in Florida, but they didn't care. They were excited to have an opportunity to go, even if it was smaller. The morning came for us to go to Universal Studios, and we got there right when the gates opened. We wanted to be there early. We knew we only had one day, and so because we only had one day, we went ahead and invested in the one day or the front of the line passes, so we wouldn't have to wait hours and hours in line for a ride, because the kids love rides. So we had our one-day passes. We get in the park and we head straight to Harry Potter World. The kids flew past all the stores. They didn't want to get their butterbeer yet. They just wanted to get to the rides. We love rides, but a few of us in our family struggle with a little bit of car sickness on roller coasters. So we had loaded up on our Dramamine that usually works everywhere else we go, and we were excited to spend the day on roller coasters. The first ride we went to was the only ride in Harry Potter World is inside a huge building. It's a huge mountain, and it has the big castle up on top, Hogwarts Castle. You can't see the roller coaster at all, which is a little bit unusual, but I had done no research. I had heard there was a Harry Potter roller coaster. I was assuming it was a Harry Potter roller coaster. So it didn't occur to me as I was walking up that I should be able to see this roller coaster. So we couldn't see it, but anyway, we were excited to get inside, and maybe it's all in the building and to go through caves and whatnot. So we're just going with it. We get inside through our front of the line passes, and most other roller coasters that you get on, the cars come to a complete and full stop. The attendants do a safety check. They make sure everybody's strapped in really tight and safe. They didn't do that on this ride. This ride was on a conveyor belt, and you jumped on, buckled your own seatbelt, and were handed a pair of 3D glasses. At that point, I kind of had a little bit of this isn't going to be what we think it's going to be feeling, but it was going so fast there was no time to process or ask questions or to, make sure everything was going to be okay. We've moved about 20, 25 feet into another area and start seeing the images on our glasses. And all of a sudden, our car's moving back and forth and front and back. It goes every which direction. And all the time, we're watching this movie on our 3D glasses. And it looks like we are in Hogwarts Castle and that we're in the middle of a Quidditch match trying to escape a dragon and Dementors. And it's intense and it's super vivid. So vivid that I found myself needing to close my eyes because I knew that this was not going to work very well for my car sickness and my equilibrium. So I close my eyes. I hear the kids still yelling and screaming and having a good time. And I noticed a little bit of quiet from Chris, which is not unusual because he also has a little bit of trouble with car sickness. So I was like, oh, he's probably got his eyes closed just like I do. We get to the end of the ride. And again, it's that quick pace. You're expected to get off of it and get out of the way so the next people can get on. I undo mine, put my glasses down, and I look over at Chris, and he is, poor guy, he's as pale as a ghost. And I'm looking at him and could tell that he was just waking up. He had literally passed out in the middle of this ride. And not only had he passed out, he had thrown up all over the front of himself. He would have been completely embarrassed if he had been cognitive enough at that point to even comprehend what was going on. So Chris and I the kids and I do a good job, the best job we can at getting him off the ride safely. The attendant saw that we were having an issue and they quickly took us to a bathroom where we could rinse off and clean up. She realized that his clothes were a mess, so she went to go find him a t-shirt. So we're standing in there processing, trying to figure out, getting Chris back to acclimated, fanning him, cooling him off, all the whole 9 yards. And we soon realized she wasn't coming back. This poor attendant, it's a busy park, and I don't know what distracted her, but she never came back. So we had to leave the restroom. Chris still covered in stuff. We walk a little ways, and he's like still feeling woozy, still feeling like he's going to pass out. So we find a little cove to sit in. The kids are kind of walking sheepishly behind me. They really want to go ride rides, but they're feeling really, really bad for their dad. And it just was kind of awkward for a little bit. So we find a little cove to sit in, and finally an attendant saw us and said, "Are you guys needing some help?" And I said, "Actually, we do." And I told them what had happened on the Harry Potter world. And they said, "Well, we have a first aid station just a little bit down around the corner. If you can make it there, they'll be able to help you out." So I said, "Great." Chris was sitting down at this point. I had walked away to go find somebody to help us. And I went back and talked to the kids, and they, of course, they wanted to go ride rides. That's why we were there. But they felt bad leaving Chris. So I assured them that we were fine. I gave them our front of the line passes. So not only did they get to go ride all the rides once, they got to ride them twice. So they were excited about that, but they were still feeling like, this is a family vacation. We're supposed to be doing this together, and I feel awkward leaving Dad. But I finally told them, "Your dad paid a lot of money for us to get into this park and to have these front of the line passes, and he would be devastated if he ruined all your fun. So please, please, please go enjoy the park." And fortunately, they were old enough to be able to do that. So they went off to do that. I get Chris to the first aid station. As soon as we walk in the front doors of the first aid station, they look at me and they said, "Harry Potter ride?" And I said, "Yes, actually, the Harry Potter ride." So they knew exactly what was going on. They ushered him into this little room and closed the curtain around him, and he laid down and took a nap. He slept. While he initially was falling asleep, I decided that he was going to need new clothes. It wasn't going to work. So I went to try to find him the cheapest clothes that I could find. Of course, we are in Universal Studios in Hollywood, California, and there is no cheap clothes in Universal Studios. There are no cheap t-shirts. There is nothing cheap in this park. So Chris is now the proud owner of a Gryffindor t-shirt and shorts. I tried to find the most adult pair of outfit that I could find. It was a challenge to not find something that was going to make him look like a complete and total nerd. But I got his outfit and headed back to the first aid station, and he changed, and then he took like a 2-hour nap in the middle of Universal Studios while the kids were exploring all the rides. I got to go explore a few shops while we were waiting for him to recover. He eventually did recover. He got to go eat a late lunch with the kids, and he got to see and meet Megatron from the Transformers. But he did not get on another ride, and I did not get on another ride. So even though our family vacation wasn't perfect, that's still one of our favorite stories to tell. We love laughing about it now. At the time, it wasn't so funny. A little bit of history. Since that time, Universal Studios has removed the 3D glasses from the ride, and they've changed their screens because my poor husband was not the only one to get sick on that ride. And lots of people had trouble passing out as well. So they've needed to modify it because it was not going to work for people. So if you go to Universal Studios and you can't see the roller coaster, you might want to ask a few questions if you struggle with car sickness. Thank you.